Warning, this podcast may contain bad language, content that some listeners may find offensive, and for once, someone interesting other than me.
Me?
No.
Fuck you.
For once, we actually have a guest on, our very first one. It's going to be a good one today.
No, fuck's that guest on.
Yes. Gaston was a lad. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Quite honestly.
Why wouldn't she want him?
Why would she be fucking that beast?
He was a beast.
Who, Gaston? Yeah,
Yeah. He was a true beast.
This is going nowhere. Welcome to the Seesaw Podcast with T and Cleves.
Each week, offering up a great perspective on life. And welcome to a new episode of Seesaw Podcast coming from the ever-dizzying heights, Seesaw Towers, floor 31.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one today. And speaking of 30...
30? Well, episode 30, we think.
Episode 30.
So what are we doing this week, Cleves?
This week, I'm actually genuinely excited because we've got a guest on for the first time ever.
Yeah, like a lot of disabled podcasts have guests every single week. It's only taken us literally 30 weeks to get our first guest. So this week we have Jamie McAllister of That Blind Lads podcast. Some may say one of the first.
What do the other people say?
Let them say that he is fantastic in every single way.
Do you want to
king
blow
among men.
any more smoke?
I need to borrow that dragon t-shirt that you were so proud of last week.
Are you just... What's that got to do with the smoke?
Dragons blow smoke.
Oh. I thought they breathed fire.
Yeah, no smoke without fire.
Okay, fine. Look, we're getting off topic. The point is, Jamie McAllister, That Blind Lad, here we go.
This week we do have a guest, and it is none other than That Blind Lad, Jamie McAllister. Welcome, Jamie.
Hello, how are we?
Oh, good.
Very good, very good. This is a bit weird for us because it's usually just me talking to Cleves, and I don't get no intelligent conversation out of him, really.
Wow, I don't know if anything's going to change with me, but we'll see.
There's an extra person to have random shit conversations with, at least.
Well, yeah. Hopefully it's going to be less abuse thrown my way, because that's usually what it ends up being. So it's great to have you, Jamie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Prominent podcaster on the disabled podcast scene.
Yeah, to a degree.
I thought T was saying you had been nominated for some awards or something.
I was, yeah. Those, what they called, National Diversity Awards.
Oh man, you picked those up pretty quick then. If you've only been doing it 9 months, that's awesome.
Well, that was down to a good friend of mine, John Attenborough, who does the blind social with me.
I see. You rigged the competition. Is that what you're saying?
he nominated me just out of the blue, and I didn't know who it was for you, and I was like, I messaged him first, like, someone just nominated. He's like, yeah, it was me. I was like, oh, shit, cheers. And then from then on, I just obviously put it on my Twitter, and then more and more people just started voting for me. So it's all down to him really, but yes, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, mate. Congratulations. Like Cleve said,
thank you.
9 months, and you've already got yourself a tasty award out of it, which is fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, I'm still. You find out you get nominated, then you have to be shortlisted, right. Which I find out on the 14th of this month, which is like, God knows how many people have been nominated for the award I've been nominated for, and then shortlisted out of those however many people, you then go to the awards ceremony. It's not until next year, like February next year in Liverpool somewhere, I think. So
you can make friends with some more of the judges by that point. At least a few palms.
Some backhands, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got our vote, mate. Yeah. Of course, if we were in it as well, we'd have our vote. But but you got our vote, and I encourage anyone who listens to support one of the community.
Thank you.
Great stuff. So, of course, you're a fellow Blinky, as we like to call ourselves.
Yes.
And we're just wondering, if you're happy, just go over your particular condition, sort of like how the journey so far, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, I always say mine's pretty basic, but I think that's just because of the amount of people I've interviewed now. I think, mine's very, very standard. But I've always had problems with my eyesight pretty much since the day I was born. And I remember getting I've been told about getting my first pair of glasses where it's like strings, so it's strapped to your head, and you're like less than 1 year old. So literally from literally the minute I was born, I was wearing glasses, and then it was fairly stable for the first several years of my life, and then between like the ages of 6 and 13, I think I had about a dozen operations on my eyes altogether. And in that period, I lost my right eye. So then from 13 onwards, I was just clinging on to what I had left in my left eye. And that was going all right. I was after the last operation, when I was 13, I didn't have to wear glasses anymore. So that was, I suppose, for me at the time, a kid, you know, when you're in school, that's quite a good thing because, you know, it's just one less thing you know, people can say about you, or one less thing you have to worry about.
Nerds are cool now. Maybe you were just born too early.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it was. I remember a couple of months after I stopped wearing glasses. Only a couple of months to put them on, I looked, I was like, I don't even look right with glasses anymore. You know, when someone's head's just made for glasses, it just looks right. Well, I put them on literally only a couple of months later. It just looks odd. Yeah, so I was doing all right for the rest of secondary school.
Did you go to mainstream school, by the way?
I did, yeah. I've been to mainstream school for the entirety of my life, which, you know, it's hard to know the conversation of, you know, whether it's good enough, but I think in a way it did me good. You know, I'm around your quote unquote normal people. So yeah, it was an interesting, I mean, the first couple of years of secondary school was shit for me. I got, you know, the actual school itself and the teachers were terrible, and bullying issues and whatever, which led me to then move school for the last 3 years. And then from then it picked up. I only came out of school with like one GCSE, which was science. I don't know. I look back and I was like, how the fuck did I do that? I can't remember a thing. I got like an A in physics. I'm like,
nice.
Was I in that test? Pretty sure I wasn't, but yeah, that was more down to me just, I don't know about you guys, but when I was at school, I didn't go for the learning. I went to see my mates every day and piss about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sounds familiar.
So I can't really go, well, it's the teacher's fault for not giving me the right, you know, attention or support, or whatever, because it wasn't. It was mostly my fault. So, yeah, left school. But that was the authority's fault, was not getting my plans back in time to go to college straight after. So I missed like a year out straight after school. So in that year, I think is the biggest, when my eyesight changed the most. But I didn't notice, because when I say I left school and I literally lost contact with everyone, and I didn't go anywhere whatsoever like an entire year. So it's just me, you know.
Was that down to your eyesight changing?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was, I can't, even looking back now, I can't say, because maybe it's just me, I don't know. I didn't want to, or it could have been down to my eyesight, but it wasn't bad. I could still walk around by myself. I could still use my phone. I could still play console and what have you.
Yeah.
So it's a weird one looking back now, but obviously not going out that much and only being in the same places most of the time, whether it's my house or another family member's house, I didn't realise that my eyesight was deteriorating. And it wasn't until I started at rugby college in 2017. It's like a year on. And I was, you know, brand new place, never been there before. And I was like, shit, I can't walk around by myself anymore. So yeah, from then on, it was like, I've literally got to have someone, you know, literally guiding me wherever I go. And I still had sight, but, you know, nowhere near enough to safely walk around a place like a college.
I think that happens to everyone. Like me and T spoke a few weeks back of just, for a while you get to ignore it, and then there just comes a point where you're like, shit, I'm gonna have to actually start dealing with this now.
Yeah. It's one of those where I don't know about you, but I always pushed the fact that I was blind or visually impaired or whatever. You always pushed it back. Like, nah, I'm not. I'm alright. I'm, you know, look at me. I'm walking around by myself. I don't need any help. Like, you know, maybe I needed help in the classroom, like making things bigger. But other than that, I was always, I didn't want to consider myself as disabled or whatever whatever term you wanted to use. But yeah, it is. And the thing is, I can't. There's no point where I can go. Yeah, right there is where it kind of went downhill. I can't. It's just, and same goes later on when my eyesight continued to deteriorate over that time, and then eventually there was like a point in like mid 2018, and that's where my eyesight just went. Not like woke up one morning, it was pitch black. But slowly, in the space of a couple of months, just went from something to pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
And it's a weird to look back on because, you know, like I said, I can't pinpoint it, and it didn't affect me. I wasn't saying to myself, oh God, what am I going to do now? I'm blind, blah, blah, blah. Because I think maybe because I just knew it was coming at some point, but I just didn't know when. But yeah,
Plus, I'm guessing that as it sort of slowly deteriorated as well, you compensate bit by bit, don't you, to the point where you've already got those methods in place that you already know what you're doing to sort of compensate for your sight in certain situations. And if it's slowly
to a degree,
it's not.
I think the biggest thing was using my phone and that. The thing that the one negative thing I'd say about my kind of not childhood, but like, you know, education and what have you, and the support I had was they didn't really tell me much about what's out there and when I was to go blind, what was out there to, you know, make everything accessible and what have you.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about, you know, voiceover on the Apple products or talkback on the Android products. I didn't know anything, and I didn't even know it existed. So when I went blind, I had a Samsung at the time. I was like, I can't use my phone anymore. I was like, shit, what? I literally cannot. I just literally stopped using my phone, any technology whatsoever. And that was for a good 2-3 months. I don't know. Looking back now, I don't know how I did it. So it's a weird time. And then obviously I stumbled across some YouTube video that I've set up my own podcast. So that just randomly stumbled across a video where this girl was picking up all her Apple shit, and she was like, it was all talking. So I was like, hang on a minute, what the fuck's that doing? Why is that talking to? How are you doing that? And from then on, I realised it all, and that's probably where my life picked up. You know, because I was down about it, mainly because I can, you know, socialise with people outside of college or home. But yeah, that's where my life kind of picked up, and I started just seeing being blind as just so just another thing.
Fair play, mate. To be honest, like fair play. I've got a degenerative condition. I think Cleves has as well, and I've been told flat out that my sight I've got some sight left. I've been flat out told it will go, and I'm shitting my pants.
Yeah, trust me, I was the exact same. When I was 12, 13, I looked ahead and I had really good, pretty good sight. I looked ahead and thought, I'm not going blind. No chance. No way. I need my sight to do this and that and go here and there and use this and that. But it's a weird feeling. It is a weird feeling.
Well, and you've made the best of it, and that's what you've got to do, I suppose. You just got to make the best of it and just keep moving forwards, and you've done that.
That's it, yes.
Found your way into podcasting. So how did that happen? Like getting into podcasting?
Ooh. How did that happen? I don't know. I think I only got into it. I was quite late to like the whole just podcasting scene as a whole. So I only started listening to podcasts, say, mid to late 2019. And, you know, I've listened to, you know, all the football ones and a couple of Now being one and what have you and stuff like that. And then I don't know, during lockdown 1, like everyone probably, they were, you know, getting a bit bored, like 2 weeks in. I just thought, you know, what can I do? I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna have a go at podcasting. So I brought like a laptop and everything, and I tried bits and bobs, do some research. But I just couldn't find one. I'm just gonna admit, I'm a lazy blind person. I'm not great with computers, like your narrators or your JAWS or whatever. I'm not great with them. The only thing I used at the time was my phone. That's it. So yeah, I put it to the back of my mind, and obviously lockdown didn't just last those 3 months or whatever it was, and came to August and I stumbled across Anchor and realised, actually, you can download that on your phone or your iPad. So yeah, I came across that, and I brought an iPad, which I just thought, you know, might as well, it's just another screen and a thing to use.
Yeah.
And yeah, from then on, it was it's kind of just learn as you go kind of thing, which I don't know what your guys' experience of podcasting was like, but yeah, I didn't know a fucking thing going into it. Just picked up tips and tools and tricks along the way.
Yeah, I mean, we were the same, sort of learning as we went. There's a reason that our entire playlist starts at episode 3, because the first 2 were just utter garbage, sound quality wise, that we were just like, we can't have these on Spotify.
Yeah, trust me, I have gone back since and took a few out that I thought, yeah, they were fine back then, but now, they're just and then also they don't kind of fit in with what it is now. Because I think the main thing about my podcast is, if you was to go back all the way to the first like series I did, it's just not random people, but public figures, I suppose you could call them.
Yeah, like notable people.
Yeah, notable people, yeah. And just me interviewing them. And there's a couple of random ones where they talk about blind experiences in there. And then I stopped that, and slowly I started to kind of go into the disabled space. So I started a series where I did interviewing a few different blind people, and I stopped that. And then I went into fully went into just disabled people as a whole. And that's what, so that's what now. So what it is now is nothing like what it was when I first started.
Do you find that you're starting to sort of immerse yourself in that community? Because I feel like there's like a whole sort of disabled community as a whole, as well as rest of the population, if you like.
Yeah, especially on Twitter. I mean, I've been on Twitter since early mid 2019, and for the first 18 months, I've been on Twitter. It was mostly just COF fans, team of support, and just random people you just happen to follow and get on well with on social media. Not one disabled person, at least, not one that you consider a part of the community, so to speak. And yes, probably go back to lockdown number one. It's slowly kind of like, there's one person, there's two. And then before you know, I'm here now, and I've got a few hundred disabled people, I'd say, on my Twitter. And there is like a whole community that you're like, shit, where's this been? Like, but it has its positives and negatives, but yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, because I'm always in sort of two minds about it, in the sense that I always feel like it's great that community exists, because you can share ideas and thoughts and experiences and things like that. But at the same time, I also feel like maybe that community should be just more integrated with the general society of where you live in.
Yeah,
I feel it's a bit separated sometimes, and I don't necessarily think that's always a good thing.
Happy in your own corner, sort of thing.
It is a funny one. Like you said, it's great for I wouldn't say finding a community. I mean, I say it wouldn't happen. It did happen, because I've now got friends, who I speak to on a regular basis, who are really good to speak to. But I know a few people who say they're kind of new to disability, and something happened to them recently. And finding that community and finding certain people has really helped them a lot. I've always been in the view that I don't personally feel like I fit in properly with that community.
No, I think that's probably as well, because you grew up with some sight, I would say. Like, my sight has generated a little bit more since my sort of teenage years, and you've always grown. You went to mainstream school and things like that. You've always been a part of that main society. And then got this other ones. I always liken it a little bit to like like the gay society. They've just had like gay pride and everything. They've got their own sort of society, but it's also within everything else within the entire UK. But they also have their own like community.
Yeah.
Apart from we don't celebrate disability for some reason.
Well, we were actually saying before we started recording, like I said to Cleves while we were setting up, right, did you know that it's Disability Pride Month? And he went, no. First I've heard of it, and I'm disabled.
I didn't even know it exists.
It's just not pushed at all.
I've seen people speaking about it, because I didn't. I think I only found out that it exists a few days ago, before just before the actual move started. And it is funny when you see people tweet and look at people, say like in the corporate world, who go all out for Pride Month, change all their things to rainbow, which is great. That's push what you can, and make people more aware of this and whatever. But as soon as that ends, and like you said, this Disability Pride Month, it's all gone. Nothing to be seen.
I don't know whether that's just because it's in its infancy, though. Maybe like there's been a lot of attention, hasn't there, particularly this year with other causes and things like that. Like the Black Lives Matter movement was obviously huge, and then other sort of causes like the disability pride and things like that get sort of pushed to the side a little bit. Yeah, there's still discrimination there as well, which is pretty bad.
100. You see it all the time, and I think the thing that I've spoke to a couple of people about in the past is, like you said, you've got Black Lives Matter when you had the dreadful George Floyd incident last year, and you had I don't know what name on call it, the woman who was murdered by that police officer earlier this year, Sarah, I their surname, and that obviously triggered that big movement, for women. And then obviously you've always got kind of the LGBT community. They've always got something where they're pushing and whatever. And it's just disability that just seems to not have that thing that kind of makes the community explode and just puts us into the mainstream.
I always find that a bit like horrifying though. Like I don't want something really horrible to happen, like the Floyd incident, to make people stand up and take notice. And then at the same time, I just wonder, like, maybe disabled people aren't doing enough to bring the problem to light. I don't really know where the blame lies, but
mate, I think a lot of the time, as I said, like the disabled community, they really like to cloister together. And I will say, from my experience with a lot of deaf people that I know, the deaf community, even in the disabled community, are very quiet. They do not get involved in anything, like hardly ever at all. Like if you're deaf, like it's all about being deaf. It's like we're not disabled, we're deaf. Like we've got our corner over here. Don't touch our stuff.
Yeah, you know what? I've always wondered that, because when I've seen it a few times where it says disabled and deaf, I was like, I always wondered, it's disabled people and is deaf people not a part of the disabled? That always is. Maybe I should ask. I've got a couple of people on Twitter who are deaf, so maybe I should ask them. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to know why that is and if they prefer it that way. Because I don't know. Yeah, it is an interesting one, and one that probably many deaf people have different opinions on.
Let's go back to like the whole Pride Month side of things as well. It's like, I mean, maybe if the communities, if as a disabled community, especially with the deaf people getting on board, like if we were a little bit louder about it and actually had pride. I mean, I think
are you doing all of this as a pun, like all the way through?
No, no, I don't know. I think it's difficult to be prideful if you're disabled, because it's got such negative connotations. Whereas like LGBT plus, like you can be proud. It's like you're different, but you're proud, and it's like, okay, the negative connotations are sort of gone now. When you're disabled, if your eyes don't work or your legs don't work or you can't hear or any of these things, it's like you can be proud of who you are. But I think a lot of, like, if you go to gay people and say, "Oh, would you rather not be gay?" They'd be like, "No, I like who I am." Yeah. Like if someone said to me, "Oh, would you rather have sight?" Of course I fucking would. Give me those robotic eyes now. It's hard to have pride in something I hate.
Yeah, that is, and I'm exactly the same as that. If someone said to me, "Would you, if you gave the option to even have 50% of your vision back?" I'd say yeah. And I know people go, "Oh no, because my disability makes me who I am." I say, "But yeah, but whatever anyone says, it makes at the end of the day, it makes our lives difficult." And I refuse to believe anyone says they want their lives to continue to be difficult. I don't care what anyone says. Disabled people, at least in our generation, would always experience discrimination, would always experience whether it's abuse from people online or whatever, and it will never be equal. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very much if you give me the opportunity to have my sight back or some of it, I'll be like, yeah, go on, because that would make my life that bit easier. You can have all the technology you want, but it's not gonna make it entirely equal. And plus, that technology fucking is ridiculously expensive when it's something that actually makes a difference. So yeah, it's a touchy one sometimes, I think. For me, and I was just saying, but it seems like for you guys, blind vision impairment is kind of at the back of the queue, or at least I try to make it be anyway. Sometimes you can't really have, certain situations where you just have to put it at the front of the queue. But
when you go into a ladies' bathroom, you know what I mean? It's either you're blind or a perv. So
yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
I'll never say which it was.
Speaking from experience.
Too many experiences.
Do you have a guide dog or anything?
I don't know. This is where me saying about me being a lazy blind person. I don't ever use my white cane that much. I just rely on other humans. I am learning. I do know how to use a cane. I have done quite a few sessions on it, and I'm starting it back up now. Now we're actually allowed to go outdoors and integrate with other people. So I'm getting back on it. But guide dogs it is a goal of mine. I do want one. Obviously, you have to do all this white cane training and what have you first before you can confidently and comfortably kind of make yourself a case to get one. Like stuff like pop into the corner shop to grab something little. That's where I think it will come in handy most. Usually when it's a long distance and it involves a bus, for example. I don't know about you guys, but buses for me. I've never been on one by myself, but that's purely because they scare the shit out of me.
How so? I didn't mean to laugh at that. It was just like
buses are shit. I mean, we've already covered this in previous. We previously covered how shit buses are, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on them.
It's purely just stop wise, because obviously I love trains. I absolutely love trains. I could if trains were the only transport that existed, I'd be a happy man. I'm more than happy to travel here, there, and everywhere on trains, no matter how many stops it entails. But buses. It's just the unpredictability of them, and the kind of obviously no journey's ever the same with the with the buses, is it? So it's like there's no one there. Would you drive past that bus stop? But you're like, no, wait, hang on, you need to stop there so I know where I am because I'm counting the stops here. But obviously you can't say that.
I don't know what it's like at the bus service Coventry, but Nottingham it's actually quite good in the sense that like all the stops are read out over like a bus tannoy and things like that.
No. maybe that's why. Maybe I need to go somewhere that's a bit better with the buses. But yeah,
Nottingham is quite posh for buses. To be fair, it's like the only thing it's got going for it.
I've been on. I don't go on buses much, but the ones I've been on, I've never heard a tannoy system say, you are now arriving at ... Maybe that's why. Maybe just buses in cover just shit. That doesn't do me any favours.
You know what? Cleese just said, we've got fancy buses here. Like, yeah, they read out the stop, but it doesn't stop you sitting in piss. Well, they're not that fancy.
Yeah, true. You don't know what's been on before,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But one thing that I found out a while ago actually, there's an app. I can't remember how it works now, but it's somehow like kind of picks up your location. It's almost like a sat nav, but for when you're on a bus, and it kind of tells you when your stop's coming up on that. So maybe next time I'll give that a blast. But yeah, bus is not for me.
So what's in the agenda for your podcast like going forwards? So what have you got lined up?
Well, yeah, because you've just been doing the journeys thing.
I have, yeah. That's pretty much it. I'll be honest, to have one out for this weekend, but once again I've been really lazy and not got one in time. So have to be next weekend, which will be 11th is when the next episode of the journey will come out. So yeah, I need to get back on top of kind of searching for people that took on my fancy and think, yeah, you'd be a good guest to get on. And I always try and balance it as well. Like I said at the start, as many disabilities as I can, and as many genders and what have you. I've just got this OCD about it. Say if I had like 3 women in a row or 3 men in a row, I'd be like, I can't do another. I can't do a 4th one. I need someone else. It's just I don't know if you guys like that, but I actually know because you guys don't have guests, do you? So
no, we don't have diversity here.
Yeah.
We're a little bit behind the times.
But yeah, that's why I'm very. I'm not picky about my guests. It's just I like to kind of arrange them, appropriately and try and make it seem as diverse as possible. And it's just easier. Whereas before, when I had like 3 series going all at once, so I had journeys, I had blind social, and 3. And they were what's that last like Sunday, Wednesday for about probably 4 months. It was.
That is a lot of work.
The journeys ones, I get a lot of them recorded in advance.
Yeah.
So it was just the Not Quite Page 3 and Blind Social were recorded like usually a week or so before they were actually released. So it doesn't sound as much as the actual schedule was. I think I'm going to do it every week, every 2 weeks. So I'll decide sooner to the time. But yeah, just interviewing people and seeing where that takes me. Because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy just sitting down and just chatting to people and just letting them tell their story, even if they are probably more popular within the disability community or they're not. I like to think I kind of get a good mix of smaller people who just kind of do their thing in the background and don't really say much on social media. And then the opposite end of that would be people that also do a lot but say a lot on social media as well. So yeah, I do try and do what I can.
Well, you're good at it, mate. You are good at it, and it's good that you're giving these people the platform, because that's what it's all about. And I think that's what we're all trying to do in our own way, aren't we?
It's raising awareness at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think without throwing shade at the more popular people that I've on my podcast, my favourite ones have been the smaller kind of, like I said earlier, the ones who do a lot but don't say a lot.
Yeah.
They're the ones where I've genuinely like kind of came off thinking, wow, or that's really good, or that's an incredible story. Like, I think my favourite one I've done is with a bloke called Giles Hudson, and I released it all the way back in I think it was like the first one of this year. That was a good trial when he had like a serious brain injury when he was a teenager, and which like led to like memory loss and short-term memory loss and what have you. And that, like, there was points in that where I was recording and I was almost in tears. It's like it was just some hard hitting shit, and you're like, Jesus, that's that is deep. So that's probably one of my best ones. And then there's one I did a couple of weeks ago with Vinny Keating. His name is. He does holiday camp for disabled kids, and I thought, that's pretty cool, and no one has to pay anything like that. So it's the small ones I seem to enjoy more. So yeah, if anyone's listening and they're interesting, then come my way. I'll do the same interrogation for you guys.
Oh well, I don't think it will be as interesting, and have to rein Cleves in a bit. So we come on yours, rein his language in a little bit.
I'm going to do a load of things before that. I'm going to start my own charity.
The Cleves podcast featuring Cleves.
Yeah. Just quickly do a load of things.
Yeah, that's you say that about the whole kind of swearing or whatever. Something happens to me when I go on my podcast. Like I swear here and there and everywhere and whatever. But as soon as I put those headphones on, maybe it's because of the people I've spoke to, and I don't want to come across as some absolute nutcase with a 3-time world Paralympian or something like that. But I'll just turn into this very clean corporate kind of person. But obviously with you guys, because I thought, what, I'll just be the
no standards.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah. I'll be the domestic Jamie. That's what I'll be. When everyone else is.
But that's what we want. We want. We hope to have some more guests in the future, but we hope that people can come on, feel relaxed, just be a bit more candid. I know there's always a time and a place to be politically correct and talk about important things, but
that's the thing, and that's another thing that probably can get into in the podcast. But politically correct and being within the disabled community, I think they both intertwine.
Yeah, and
it's a minefield.
It definitely is, and we're looking to step on every mine that we can at the moment. That's what we seem to be doing.
I salute you guys for doing that. I really do. I mean, I'm just a bit of a I'm just too scared to do that. Really, I'll say what I want on social media because I can delete it. But on podcasts, that's it. Once you've uploaded that, bye career kind of thing.
Don't worry, we'll step on all the landmines, and then there'll be nothing in the way for anyone else.
just do all the work for me, and then I'll just.
You won't need a cane to get through, at least at that point.
I'll find my way one way or another.
Awesome stuff. Well, it's been great chatting to you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. We'll have to get you back again in the future. Maybe pick a topic, pick your mind on a few things.
Definitely.
And of course, you can find Jamie's podcast on all good podcast players, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those lovely places. I think I've seen you. That Blind Lad. Have a listen. Really insightful stuff. Anything else you want to plug, Jamie? Go ahead if you want to plug anything.
No, I think you've done a grand job already. That's pretty much it. My podcast and my Twitter, which is just That Blind Lad. Twitter's the only place I'm active. I've got Instagram and I've got Facebook, but they don't excite me, so I don't go on them. I think I've
uploaded like one episode onto our Facebook, and I think it was like a random 11th episode, and I just ignored it from that point. It's like
that's exactly me. You look on my podcast page on Facebook, and it is just like episode 8, 16, 21. It's just But and I'll make sure to get you guys on over the next few weeks as well, and we can have a ramble.
Cool.
Sounds good, mate. Sounds fantastic. But it's great to have you on, Jamie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we'll chat to you soon.
Yeah,
thank you. Take care.
Cheers. See you later.
Cheers.
Great.
Wasn't that fun and interesting, Cleves?
You sound, when you said that, it made it sound like sarcastic. It was not the case. I did genuinely find
it's not sarcastic.
Actually quite an interesting conversation, to be fair.
It was.
I know it was only like a chat around, but some good stuff there, man. That was cool. Yeah. Good guy.
Yeah, and we'll get Jamie back in future capacities. He's got a lot of good ideas, and he is a good lad to chat with. But need to get the man, the myth, the mystery on here for the introductions.
More smoke.
More smoke. You know what? I've got to shine up the guests, mate. Shine them up.
Yeah, you shine them up, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Buff them?
Buff them. I shine and you buff.
Oh, I am buff, thanks. Okay. And on that,
we hope you enjoyed this first guest episode of Seesaw. If you're new to us, please subscribe, rate, review. We never ask people to, but it does help.
And go check out Jamie's podcast too.
Give him a listen. He's on all the same places you can find us. At That Blind Lad. Hit him up. And us as well. Until next week.
Thanks for listening to the Seesaw Podcast.
You can find us on Facebook at Seesaw Podcast, Twitter, Seesaw Pod. You can email us at seesawpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on TikTok and Instagram at Seesaw Podcast or Seesaw Pod, depending on which one we want. But get us on the other places. This podcast was recorded in front of a blind audience.